I'd like to welcome everybody here today to our beautiful, beautiful pollinator garden. You've heard about this for the past 2 years. It started 2 years ago. Back in Indiana, before we moved here, I raised and released monarch butterflies. And I really missed taking care of the butterflies, raising them from the little eggs or from the caterpillars that I would find on our milkweed stands at home. And so I thought, gosh, wouldn't it be nice to have just like a 3x6 area where I could just plant some milkweed. And so I talked with some people here in the park, and there was some interest in making a pollinator garden, not just for the monarchs or the butterflies, but also for the bees and the birds and the beetles and the bugs and all of the pollinators. So we got a group together. I put in a proposal to George, the former owner, and I asked him for space and for them to dig up the ground and to give us water and electricity. He said, you can't have the space you asked for, but I'm going to give you this space, which this space is much, much better than what we had asked for. And he gave us the water, he gave us the electricity, and he dug it all up for us. And he said, I will also give you a fence around it, and I will maintain that fence. So there was so much interest, plus it was a way to get out of the house during the COVID years. So I think that really helped our pollinator garden. So all of these plants two years ago, right now, were being put into this garden, and they were all about 6 inches tall. This tree behind us here, back by the cactus, was supposed to be the tall tree because we thought none of us were going to live long enough to see these trees get tall enough to give us shade. So someone donated this tall tree back here. All of these other trees that you see were about 3 feet high, and look at them now. Our tall tree is now the short tree. So this garden has totally just come so far from what we ever imagined. And if you're around during the summer, please come in and take a look at it during the spring and summer, because there's blooms all over, there's butterflies, there's bees, there's birds. There's a list of birds right here on the archway, the entry archway, of all the birds that have been sighted here. And each area has a specific thing. This is the butterfly area here. We have 6 different varieties of milkweed here. This is our bird section back here with a water feature to kind of call them in. And then there's an area in the back for them to kind of nest and be hidden. So, and then the rest is this was our penstemon garden here in the middle. We put some stepping stones in there thinking we would be able to kind of just walk through it. And then it totally overtook the stepping stones. And in fact, when we kind of cut everything back a couple weeks ago, and when we were ready to put the pole in, we dug right where it happened to be, right where a stepping stone was. So yeah, so we had to remove that stepping stone, but it's a perfect place for the pole.
Well, welcome everybody, and thank you, Kathy, for that great presentation of your garden. It is absolutely beautiful, and I know it's going to be, it's going to prosper for sure for the whole community. But I'd like to welcome all of you also, and thank you for welcoming Rotary, Kino Rotary, into your Rincon community, which is very nice. It's the first time I've ever been here, but I just loved it. I think it's a beautiful place. But I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Emma Carrillo. I'm the president of Kino Rotary. I'll also introduce a special guest, Mr. Jesse Navarro. Would you raise your hand? He's from the Totowa O'odham Nation, so I appreciate you coming. Very nice.
We welcome you to the O'odham Juarga, the O'odham homelands. If you're here to stay for a couple of months, then you travel back home, or if you're here to stay for a lifetime, this is your home as well. And we honor that. We open our land for you guys to live here peacefully, comfortably, and to enjoy safe places like this, as we hear this morning. And I just want to share a few locations that I was looking when I was standing here. I was looking at the mountain ranges to the west of us, and in Totowa O'odham, we know that as Ban Bith Duak, coyote dropping mountains. And there's a story behind that of why there's There's 4 mountain ranges that are known as Bon Beach Doak, Coyote Dropping Mountains. To the north of us, we have Mount Lemon, the Catalinas. In Thon Autumn, we know that as Babatuak, Frog Mountain. And to the east of us, we have the Rincons. And to the Thon Autumn, we know that as Tuacoswa, Turkey Neck Mountain. And then to the south, we have the Santa Ritas. And then those mountain range is called Juatoa, Long Mountain. And then for some of us, Tucson is an autumn word for Tucson. Black Base, also known as A Mountain or Centennial Peak. And so we're protected by these mountain ranges that have significance, presence, and history of why they have their names today. Otherwise, in English. But I was looking around the plants and the native habitat. The Hashan, the saguaro, is in our tradition, in our belief, the saguaro was once a child. It has came to be what it is today, and it protects us. It takes in our energy as we walk by it, and it stands and I see it's growing its arms from time to time from now, but it reaches to the heavens to give our blessings to the Creator. And we treat the Hashan like a human being because it was once a human being at one time, a young boy who went underneath the ground and came up to what it looks like today. And so we treat it as a human being, and I know you guys all will. You guys will take much respect, much care for this safe place for each and every one of you to leave your thoughts, your prayers, your laughter, your memories here in this place here. We talk about the peace pledge and how it's to provide peace all over the world. We all know today the world is unbalanced with the wars that we see on TV, on news, on media. And the world is very unbalanced today. It's not the way it was 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago. But we're living in this world today, and the best thing that we can do is give each other kindness, give each other peace, love, smiles, hugs, laughter. That's how peace will be created and spread throughout the world.
Thank you. That was beautiful, Jesse. Talk about beauty and having a safe place. I really appreciate you giving that message to all of us.
We are very pleased this morning to have 2 very special guests from Rotary. We have Dr. Don Jorgensen. Don is the district governor-elect for our Rotary District 5500. He starts on 1 July. And then we have Pat, and he's with the Marana Rotary Club. And we have past district governor Ellie Patterson. She is with the newest club here in Tucson called the Tucson Verde Club. And she is also very, very instrumental in the Peace Pole project within our district.
Thank you. I'm David Fawcett, a Rincon snowbird from Minnesota for 21 years. I'm on K Street. I'm a member of the Kino Rotary Club, and Rotary is a volunteer organization with about 35,000 clubs in about 200 countries, 1.4 million members. Here in Arizona, there are a dozen clubs in the Tucson area and 50 more across southern Arizona. We do community service projects locally, nationally, and globally. Today's event, which helps celebrate peace building and the environment, which are 2 of Rotary's 7 areas of focus. February, coincidentally, happens to be the Rotary month of peace and conflict resolution. We have a different theme every month. Our club has donated and installed 5 peace poles so far in Tucson and 1 in Sells, Arizona. They're at schools and public parks. We have plans for many more, and we're thrilled to dedicate this unit right here in Rincon.
All right, well, thank you, David, for that presentation on Kino Rotary and Rotary itself and the purpose of what we're about to do. We're about to do is to unveil in a few minutes our peace pole. And just as David said, we have installed about 5 of them. And there is a history to the peace pole. The Peace Pole project was started back in Japan by Masahisa Goi, who dedicated his life to spreading the message, may peace prevail on earth. And the first peace poles were outside of Japan, were constructed in 1983. Since then, more than 200,000 have been placed around the world in close to 200 countries. A peace pole is an international recognized symbol of the hopes and dreams of the entire human family. Planting peace poles is a way to spread the message of peace in our community, and in this case, it's your Rincon community and your new pollinating garden community and around the world. So it's so now we have become, or you have become, part of this whole world message, which is nice. So when you see your garden, you see the peace pole, it's not just about this, it's really also a representation of what's going on in the world. So we want you to know that, and you are being part of this whole peace pole celebration, which is really nice. So with that, we're going to go ahead and unveil the peace pole, and then also Mr. Buck and John, if after you unveil, talk about the languages and the peace pole itself and the whole thing.
I'm Buck Crouch. I'm one of the few native Tucsonians here. My wife Ada is another one. Just to say, welcome all of you that are not born here. The peace pole has 4 languages on it. And we try to choose languages that are in our communities. So this particular peace pole has, in English, may peace prevail on earth. It also has in Yaqui, which is one of the Native American groups in our area. It has in Spanish on the backside, and it has in Odom on this other backside. I'd just like to say some of the help we've had on this pole. We buy the poles and cut them. The students at Sunnyside Auto Body, which is a high school nearby, put the caps on for us, they weld the caps on, and they also paint the poles for us. So I want to thank them for that. John does the lettering on the poles, and with some help from Sunnyside Graphics Group. So John, would you like to say anything about the graphics?
What I do is I just cut out the letters and then I put them on the pole. That's basically what my function is. Even though it's time consuming, but that's my contribution.
I thought what I'd do is give you just a bit of history on this peace pledge you're about to get. This peace pledge was written by children. There is a small children's peace garden that was started by Becky Quintero 20 years ago. Becky is now president of the Sunnyside School Board, and she put this peace garden together with people in the community. And she had some young people in the community approach her about being concerned on some of the things they were seeing going on, the way people were being treated, so on and so forth. And what could they do? So Becky put together a youth peace conference that was held in the Peace Garden. And one of the results of that was this peace pledge. It is on your peace seeds, and it is on your bookmarks. Those have all been given by Becky. What we like everyone to do is we ask kids, and every time we do one of these, we ask all of us to do this peace pledge together to help us concentrate on the reason for our peace pole and for trying to create peace wherever we are. So if you'll join me, it's on your bookmarks, it's on your peace seeds, and it says, I pledge to treat everyone around me with respect, honor, dignity, and with an open mind. I will refrain from both physical violence and violence of the heart and mind. I will treat others as I want to be treated, so that we all may reach our fullest potentials. And we hope, as you are here within the pollinator garden, and find some time to sit and reflect around the peace pole.
This is one of the most amazing things ever for our garden. We thought the garden was amazing, but this really makes it amazing, because as you walk around the garden, we've got 3 different places that you can sit and reflect, or if you can't walk real far, you can sit and rest and reflect. And just adding the peace pole where we can walk around it and look at the piece and seeing that it's in the 4 languages, knowing that it's just peace amongst all of the peoples who live here. So I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this possible for us. And thank you, Joan, for bringing it up.
David, of course, is a Kino Rotarian, and you're a Prior Lake Rotarian, but together they're strong Rotarians here, as you can see by the work that they've done. So today I'd like to recognize you in front of your community, in front of us Rotarians, on the service that you have provided. Joan has written some awesome grants for us. We have what we call dictionary projects, and she wrote one, and that's going to provide some monetary funds for that project to continue. And also she wrote another awesome grant that is attached to another organization called the Angel Pajama Heart Project. And so, and many other services she's done. So Joan, we want to recognize you today in front of your community and as Rotarians as doing an awesome job in that. So with that, Don, would you pin this pin for her? It's called the Service Star. And it almost looks like a rodeo star when I saw it. Let's pin that on you.
And I learned a long time ago, starting with my wife, not to stick things near people, especially women. So it's my honor to hand it to you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much.
David.
Oh, what a surprise. Thank you all.
And for David, I'd like to also present to you a Service Star. And because you keep up with our websites, public relations, our media, and many other things that you do for us, for example, this type of celebration. So with that, Dr. Jorgensen, if you would hand him his Service Star, and they just embody the whole idea of Rotary, which is called service above self. So with that, let's give you a round.
Thank you.
All right. So very good.